For the first time in a long while, I can tell that Mother Nature has been trying to communicate with the river. And Mother Nature is saying spring is on its way. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has not communicated with the fish quite yet, but it's happening. I've seen some fairly significant changes in the last week. We'll talk about those in the report. But before we do, let's take a look at a few pictures sent in from some of the anglers around the system. We'll check out those pictures, then we'll get right into the report. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and this is the weekly fishing report for January 29th. We're going to start off with a little news from the Bass Hole Tackle Shop. Rob is having his first Bass Hole Team Tournament event out at Orwood Resort. That's going to be February 8th. He's also having the Bass Hole Swap Meet. That's going to be March 1st out at the Bass Hole Tackle Shop out in the parking lot. I believe that's all of our river news, so let's get into the reports. We'll start with Clear Lake. I talked with Dave out at Clear Lake Outdoors. He's saying that the big fish season is here and fishing for big fish is good. Fishing for numbers, not great. For crappie, it's off the hook. It's great. If you're looking for big fish, most people are hover strolling. They're looking to find the balls of shad. You know, you guys know what's going on up there. Forward-facing sonar, hover strolling, Sakamata shad, you're going to have a chance to get some big fish. If you're just looking for numbers, you can probably get a few more numbers by moving around a little bit more. If you don't have the forward-facing sonar, hitting the docks, moving around, throwing jerk baits and underspins or overspins, you'll pick up some fish, but it's more of a big fish fishery right now. If you're looking for crappie, you're going to want to head down by Rattlesnake. You're going to find some big schools of crappie down there, and they're not only big schools, but they're great big crappie in the 2.5 to 3 pound class. With that, the BBT Golden Mussel Tournament is coming up February 1st, and Clear Lake Outdoors is sponsoring that. For those of you who may go up, that is Sunday, February 1st. For those of you who may be going up fishing Saturday, pre-fishing, you can sign up from 3 to 5 p.m. at Clear Lake Outdoors. You can get out there, you can sign up for the raffle, get all the information that you need. If you're not going up there pre-fishing Saturday, Clear Lake Outdoors will be open early. You can still get up there and sign up for the tournament and get everything, your boat checked and everything at Clear Lake Outdoors. That is for the BBT Golden Mussel Tournament coming up this Sunday, February 1st, and I'll have some information on that next week. We're going to move along to Don Pedro. I talked to Aaron Jones out at Central Valley Bait and Tackle. Aaron is saying it's fair to maybe fair to good on certain days. They had a recent BBT tournament up there last week. Took 17 pounds to win. And that team had an 8.2 kicker. 57 boats, 42 weighed in, 30 boats had over 10 pounds. So that's getting more and more consistent. If you're going up there, Aaron suggests move around quickly, but once you find the fish, slow down. He's talking about throwing primarily jigs. That's what he's been doing. And he knows that you can go up there, slow down, keep your jigs on the bottom, and you will catch some fish. Most of the fish are spots. They're running about 1.5 pounds to up to about 3 pounds. And you can get, anywhere from 10, 15, 20 fish a day. Most of the people that I have been getting reports from that have been fishing up at Don Pedro saying they've had a good time. They are catching fish. So that's what's going on up at Don Pedro. With that, we're going to jump right in to the California Delta. And before I give you my take, I want to talk about a couple of the tournaments that recent tournaments in the last week or so. And I've got to get this straight because it's going to go a long way in kind of bolstering what I'm about to say as far as the fishing is going up here. So first of all, the Thursday tournament last week took 14 pounds to win. I think they were, I'm not sure how, 8 boats for the Thursday tournament, 14 pounds to win, but pretty consistent fishing. Top 3 were 14, 14, and 12. I think it was 14, 14, and 12, or 14, 12, and 12. But there were 3 boats out of the 8 that had over 12 pounds of fish. Only 2 did not weigh in. If you look back the last few weeks, that's not great fishing, but it is more consistent fishing. With the Delta Bass Club, they were out Saturday and it took 18.6 pounds to win. That is a great bag. Here's a little bit of the problem. First place was 18.6, second place was 2.3, third place was 1.9. They had a big fish of 4.6. That is showing some inconsistency. The river's not really turning on just yet. So think about those weights. And I also want to say, I talked to a couple of guys that won the Thursday tournament. I guess it's a couple weeks ago with that 23-pound bag. That's Steve Bosrock and Brian Baldani. We're doing a video, hopefully it'll be out next week, and Steve and Brian talk about how they prepared for that tournament, what they did, the baits they used, how they caught those fish. A couple of really good fishermen that are not afraid to share their information, and I'm really hoping that hopefully next week when you see these guys, you'll tune in and see what they have to say, and that's going to be Steve and Brian on how they caught their 23-pound bag. So with that, what am I seeing out here? And why am I saying that the river is starting to look towards spring? Well, I was out Monday. The fishing was not good for me. Got a couple bites, and that was about it. I left Paradise Point, and the first thing I noticed that the 1 foot of visibility that I've been seeing in the last couple weeks kind of graduated to about 1.5 or 2 feet. Now, the area that I fished was around Paradise Point, out to the channel, then up to White Slough and in that area. As I got out to the channel, I was getting closer to, I'll say, 2 to 3 feet of visibility. As I got up towards White Slough and I went in back some of the cuts there, in the back of some of the cuts, they were, I'll say, 5 or 6 feet of visibility. Not just the visibility, but the water tint is starting to change. That chocolate brown kind of went to a, I'll say, a tea color or lighter brown. And I think the next step is getting to that greenish color that we're used to in the summertime. So all of that is pointing towards spring. What I also saw is just a ton of bird activity, more bird activity than I've seen in the last 2 months. The birds were out, they were diving for bait. I could see bait dimpling in certain areas. The river was just coming to life. Lots of sea lions just in this area. I don't know what the deal is. Well, I do know what the deal is. Probably saw 15 sea lions, and I saw 2 of them that had striper in their, that were tearing up striper on the surface. There has to be striper in here. I've been telling you for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I can hear one. Actually, if you look behind me, you'll probably see one just pop up right out there. But they've been out here. There's striper out here. I talked to Bill, who is I'll say, the manager out here at Paradise Point. Bill sees everyone that comes in the water. He sees everyone that takes off. He talks to them about fishing. And he said that the local guys that are out drifting live bait have been coming in with fish pretty consistently. Most of these fish are between, I'll say, they're resident fish between 18 and 22 inches, with some fish going up to 26 inches. But the folks that have been going out have been consistently catching stripers. Not big ones, but they're catching fish. Just not a lot of interest in it right now. With that being said, if we get a nice day, come on out, drift some, you're a local guy, you want to come out and drift some live bait, some bluegill, or buy some golden shiners or something, or minnows, you can come out and probably catch a few stripers. And I'm going to have to leave it at that because there's really not a lot of reports coming in for the stripers. There's a few people going out on the Delta for largemouth bass, but other than the tournament guys that are pre-fishing and not talking a lot about it, there's not a lot of guys out here fishing, and the fishing, as far as I can see, is tough. It's going to take maybe a couple more weeks if we get good weather out here before the river starts really talking to us and the fish start to moving on us. With that, let's check out, see what happens next week. I'll have some more reports. I'm going to try to get out at least once or twice. And remember, be looking for that report with Brian and Steve. If you want to know how to catch a big bag of fish out here, they're going to give all the information. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. If you get out here, be safe. The water's still cold, 50-degree water. You don't want to be, falling off the boat. Make sure you're wearing your life vest out here. See you guys next week. Good luck.